one of the issues with the roster relates to the receiver position. Even though there are bigger names on the team, Jayden Reed has been the top receiver the last 2 seasons. In the aftermath of the draft, Agent Drew Rosenhaus wanted to meet with GM Brian Gutekunst to clarify Reed's status on the team. They've added both Matthew Golden in round 1 and Savion Williams in round 3. Here's Coach Matt LaFleur addressing the Reed situation and the bigger question of keeping players happy while drafting guys at the same position in a conversation he had yesterday with Chris Sims.
The first time I saw that, it was a surprise to me because he never once said a word to me. So that's all I can really speak on. But certainly you have communication with all our guys, and I tell them all the time, it's about the collection of that whole room and what you're going to bring to the table. And he's a guy he's had 2 years of a lot of production for us. So just my encouragement to him is continue to lead that room because he's done a great job of that. And he's one of the guys out there. He's out there the other day at practice or when we're doing some of our drills, and he's coaching up Matthew Golden. So he's a guy I don't worry about. He's going to go out there. He's going to compete. He's going to compete at a high level, and he's going to bring up everybody around him as well.
He's played in 33 games in the last 2 seasons. The numbers aren't spectacular. He has been the leading producer, but 64 catches for 793 yards as a rookie, 55 for 857 and 6 touchdowns in his second season. He's just been the best of a lot of not great options. So when they use the first-round pick on a receiver, how do you not feel like you're being supplanted? That they're not going to give you the chance to rise at the top of the depth chart based upon what you've proven the first 2 years. They're looking for someone else to take your place. This is one of the realities of the draft every year. The established players see that new crop of rookies and they say, uh-oh, what does this mean for me? I think it's human nature to do that, especially in a competitive industry like sports. And I can understand why Jayden Reed would want to know exactly where he fits. Where do I fit on this team? What is the plan for me? Am I going to get a contract after my 3rd year? Or am I going to have to go somewhere else after my 4th year? Those are all fair questions because he probably believes he's done enough to deserve more than what he thinks he's going to get.
Well, and it goes back to, Mike, to Josh Jacobs in the offseason saying, we need a number 1 receiver. And Jayden Reed didn't take kindly to that. But I think the Packers needed a number 1 receiver. Christian Watson is always hurt. He's hurt again. He's not going to start the season, probably going to start on injury reserve. And who knows if he plays this year, late in the season, if he can come back from that. They drafted him to be the number 1, and ends up it's been Jayden Reed the last 2 years. But as you said, other than his touchdowns, 14 touchdowns over his first 2 seasons, the numbers have not been great. They've not been worthy of a number 1 receiver. That's not what you expect. If you're under 1,000 yards, you're not a number 1 receiver. So they needed extra help at the receiver position, and they got that. And maybe it is Matthew Golden. But this should fire up Jayden Reed to prove that I am a number 1 receiver and go out and prove it. And then he has an opportunity to get a big contract. But it's going to be up to him to prove that he is a number 1 receiver, because I don't see it on paper that he's done enough to be called that number 1 receiver.
Just a weird few years for the Packers. After Devontae Adams was traded, it looked like Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs were going to become the 1-2 punch, and both guys have just not worked out to the point where they're resetting at the position, and Jayden Reed is the guy who's caught between Watson and Doubs and the new guys coming in. Where does Reed fit? It's a fair question. We'll see how it plays out. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.